FM and AM 1160. Good morning to you. It's a Wednesday. Sun's trying to shine. Don't know that it will. But cloudy skies, and we might see a splash of it today at some point, and we'll just have to watch the skies and find out. Meanwhile, we have our conversation next with the Indiana County District Attorney. He is Bob Manzi. Our conversation brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Good morning.
Morning, Todd. How are you today?
Wonderful. Summertime, after all. And, summertime means vacations for a lot of people. Vacations sometimes mean that you're posting your pictures and you're putting up information about where you are, and that can sometimes be a dangerous thing. And people in the law enforcement community are certainly aware that people get in trouble sometimes with what they post on social media for one reason or another. But that's one that is avoidable, isn't it?
That's an easily avoidable issue that we see as more and more people are taking trips to the beach, taking trips to visit family, to go to baseball tournaments. You know, everyone's working hard all year round. There's a lot of stress. We're all looking forward to vacation, maybe sitting on the beach with our toes in the sand, taking a nice picture of the ocean and posting it and just sharing with everyone you're relaxing on vacation. But from the law enforcement community, we want to caution folks about what they post on social media, when they post it, how they post it, and the information they share.
Yeah.
Because that nice picture of the ocean and your toes in the sand, talking about spending a week down the beach, has now maybe told some nefarious actor that you're not going to be home for a week.
Yeah.
That means your mailbox is open, your house is open, your cars are open, and no one's around to keep an eye on them.
Yeah, your property is at risk when you're telling people, I'm not going to be home until Saturday.
Yeah, it's that post of saying, looking forward to a great week down the beach. We all work hard and deserve a good vacation here and there, and we just want to make sure that you don't end up coming home to a disaster because you've told people that you're going to be away for the week.
It's a lot like IUP when they empty out over the Christmas holiday. They're gone for over a month, and they're not moving out their belongings, those students who go home to wherever it happens to be. And some people, of course, knowing that, turn that into an opportunity to break in and steal things.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And by sharing that information, you're providing easy access. There's some steps you can take to reducing your risk of being a victim there. Don't post your pictures until after your vacation when you're back home. Let your family, friends, and neighbors maybe know to keep an eye on your house. Maybe you have a neighbor that doesn't mind putting a car in your driveway, as they're coming and going from work. So it looks like there's some activity at your house. Using a timer for a light in your house so that your lights go on and off as you're away. And especially with the growth of smart technology in the home where you can turn lights on and off from your phone if you happen to have that. Using that technology to randomly have your lights go on and off. So it just looks like there's some activity in your house and people can leave you alone.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great idea. And social media is one way that we get into trouble electronically. It's a whole new electronic age. And unfortunately, people of a bad character have learned maybe quicker than more trusting folks that there are opportunities out there for them to do something bad, and so that's one way that we get into trouble online. There are others, of course, and that's leaving your personal information, your banking information, things that you might not even realize help others steal your identity. You put that up there and boom, somebody hacks in and you're in deep trouble.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would say over the last probably year or so, I've made about a dozen calls to families and friends that I know in the community when their 16-year-old child gets their driver's license and they're proud and they want to post a picture of themselves with their driver's license on Facebook. And you've now shared a birthday, a full legal name, maybe some information, your driver's license number, information that otherwise people aren't going to be able to get to.
Yeah.
So, that's a very proud and maybe scary moment. I have a couple children creeping up on that 16-year-old and looking forward to get a driver's license. So there's some stress there. And that's a proud moment when they get a license, but we want to make sure not to provide their information so easily accessible online.
Yeah, and it all bundles into our willingness or our desire to protect older citizens who might not be as savvy online and might end up giving away some information as well to scammers who actually make a call to them and talk them into giving up some information that they shouldn't.
Oh, absolutely. And, by you posting that picture of your child with a driver's license, you could easily get online, find out who that child's grandparents are, and then you have a scammer who calls the grandparents and shares just that little tidbit of information and making it seem like they really know something. Hey, your grandchild, they just got their license last week. They're in some trouble and they need your help.
Yeah.
It provides some credibility to what that scammer's saying, and unfortunately, sometimes they fall prey to it.
Yeah. All right. So that's one of the topics for today. I wanted to talk a little bit about another summertime scourge. It's obviously a problem all year long, but in the summertime we hear more and more of it, and that is people driving under the influence. I know that concerns you too.
That's a huge concern. In our caseload for criminal cases, almost 1/4 of our cases are DUI related, and it's a very preventable crime. We're all out visiting with friends, having a drink, enjoying summertime. We just had the 4th of July holiday. It's very easy for people to go out and relax and have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I always encourage people, have a plan going into it. You're going to a picnic, you're going to have a beer. Some of your friends are going to have beers, maybe your spouse. Have a plan of who's going to drive, who's going to stay sober, how are you going to get home. And if you happen into a situation where maybe you didn't plan on it, maybe you just happen to stop at a friend's house and then you end up having a couple beers and it wasn't planned, call somebody. Call a friend, call your spouse, call a family member. I hear all too often people will drive home while DUI because of some reason, like, well, I just don't want to have to worry about getting my car.
Yeah.
Or, hey, I have to wake up early tomorrow. It's a hassle.
Mm-hmm.
Well, getting a DUI places yourself at risk. It places everyone else on the road at risk. And I'm certain the last thing people want is their name in the paper for being arrested for a DUI.
Yeah.
Making that call to somebody to bring you home, maybe just staying at your friend's house on a guest bedroom or on the couch. Just having a plan going into it. Hey, I'm going to stay sober. I'll be the one driving everyone home. It's going to save you so much hassle, and it's going to keep you safe. It's going to keep your family safe, everyone else on the road safe.
There are legal ramifications, of course, for those who provide the alcohol, particularly if it involves a person who is underage. And so hosts of these events, that whether they're impromptu or planned, they need to be aware too.
Oh, absolutely. And, we have times where we hear about, underage minors are at a house drinking and parents say, well, I'd rather they do it here. They have some
Keep my
reason.
eye on them here.
Yeah. And, there's criminal charges if you're caught providing alcohol to a minor. And, God forbid that minor gets in the car after drinking it, you've provided them alcohol and they hurt themselves or they hurt somebody. Not only are you going to have those criminal ramifications, you're exposed to civil ramifications. And quite frankly, that's not something anybody's going to ever want to live with.
Yeah. Yeah. And, it goes right down. Your job could be in jeopardy. There are just so many different consequences from someone who could easily have prevented a situation from occurring. So there's another. We started with something that is easily avoidable. This is easily avoidable too.
Yeah, absolutely. Very easily avoidable. I mean, we have Uber, we have Lyft, friends, family, call somebody, stay on somebody's couch. Mm-hmm. Just say, you know what? I need to be sober to drive home. But have that plan to get yourself home safe.
We're talking with Indiana County District Attorney Bob Manzi. Needed to ask you this, and it seems like we just talked about it a couple of weeks ago with the Texas school shooting. Now we're talking about the Chicago school shooting and people who do those sorts of things. We can't understand them. We can't get inside their minds. But obviously, from your standpoint as a district attorney, you're very concerned about that. And people might be able to pick up on a behavior by someone prior to an incident occurring. that just alerting authorities and letting them check it out could save a life or two.
Absolutely. These events are tragedies, and they're horrible. And, one of the things that I tell citizens about any kind of crime, and especially, serious violent crime, trust your gut. If you feel like there's something wrong, if you are concerned about an individual, call your local law enforcement. The worst thing that happens is they look into it, they say there's nothing there, you've provided that information. Or maybe you're providing a piece of information for somebody they're already investigating or a situation they're already looking for. We see these individuals, and Todd, it's what you said. I don't have the magic answer. I don't know that anybody really does. But you see a lot of these individuals that when you find them and you go back to see what's going on, they're getting more and more detached from individuals. Mm-hmm. You're seeing them more and more down some ideological path. And people say, wait a second, I see something now that looking back concerned me. Yeah. Call somebody, call their parents, call their teachers, call the school, call law enforcement, reach out to somebody. Maybe just reaching out to somebody, letting them know you're there and you care about them might stop some of their behavior.
It's interesting. Representative Struzzi has his legislation going in Harrisburg talking about mental health and how we really need to bolster our mental health programming. From a legal standpoint or a law enforcement standpoint, I know that you would certainly endorse any type of action that is going to help people to recognize a mental health situation and prevent a tragedy from occurring.
100%. 100%. I've seen a new campaign ad that I find very valuable. And I'm not going to shut out any group of people, but I really want to speak to the men out there, especially, men my age, 45 up. We look at mental health as I don't need help. It's a weakness, and there's such a stigma to it. And the new campaign ad is great. I remember the one, there's a really strong guy on a weight bench, and he can't lift the weights off his chest. Mm-hmm. And someone says, hey, do you need help? And he's using excuses that are commonly heard for people not getting mental health treatment. They say, no, I don't. Well, I think there needs to be a better understanding that at different points in different people's lives, sometimes it's okay to have that professional say, let me talk to you. Maybe there's something going on. But we know through psychology, sometimes it is just a chemical imbalance that, a medication that changes, some of the chemicals going on in your body gets you right back on track. Yeah. And I think just by taking that stigma away of saying, hey, it's okay to go talk to somebody. It's confidential. It's private. And I think if the people in the community knew how many thousands of citizens in Indiana County seek mental health treatment a year, mm-hmm. it would become more normal. I don't think people realize thousands of individuals in our county seek help from a therapist or a counselor of some sort every year. And by making that okay, by telling people that's okay, then maybe they go out, they talk to somebody, and they fix what's happening in their life, and they save themselves from going down a dark path.
He is Indiana County District Attorney Bob Manzi joining us here this morning. Thanks so much for making the journey.
Oh, I appreciate it. I always appreciate coming over here.
You've also given me a topic for the future. We'll get in touch with Dr. Ralph and figure some things out, too.
That's
Dr.
great.
Ralph May. It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160.